Just Like Us. I'm your host, Justin Burtis, my lovely co-host,
Leti
Zito's
Zito.
in the building. Hoo, 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 hoo. What's up, y'all?
Who let
Welcome
the
in, you guys.
dogs
Thank you for
out?
being here with us. You could be anywhere in the whole
Anywhere.
galaxy, in the whole solar system, but you're right here with us on Just Like Us. And we want to say thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys for joining us and tuning in. So today's topic, I'm gonna let Letty introduce this topic.
Today's topic is stop playing
small,
small.
y'all.
You were built for
Built
more.
way more. Let's go.
And we are going to be breaking some self-imposed beliefs.
So
So you stop playing small.
playing small, y'all. It's time to think
To
big
rise
and
up.
do big things.
And I'll
up.
rise up.
Let's go.
High like the waves, I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
That part right there.
Anyway,
If only I could do that. That's
you
fantastic.
you
and
can.
Amazing, you know what I'm
You
saying?
can.
If
Who you
should
fooling?
Lose me, oh yeah. You will lose a good thing.
Oh my gosh, we had this on our 8-track in the car.
What?
8-track,
No
the
way.
big,
Let's
yeah,
go.
it was great. Anyways,
So have you ever felt like you were made for more, but something inside keeps you shrinking down? I mean, let's face it, y'all, we've all been there to where we felt like, you know, there was bigger things meant for us, and you know, there's more things that we should be doing and could be doing. I've been there, and I was there just not too long ago. And for me, I think, you know, what brings me out of the funk and lets me see my abilities is some clarity. You know, if I'm in my mind, I feel like sometimes when I'm stuck in my head, that's the worst place I could be. You know what I mean? Sometimes I got to talk myself off a ledge, so to speak. And I like feeling good. So, I mean, one of the worst places I could be is in my head, you know, wondering, thinking too much about, you know, what I'm doing. And don't get me wrong, the mind is a wonderful place.
It's a beautiful
place, but it can also be scary because if you don't have anybody to kind of reel you back in and you have some negative thoughts, you know, there's a good chance that you might go down a whirlwind, so to speak. I've seen it happen before with close members of my family, like such as my mom. After my dad passed away, my mom just went down this spiral downward, you know, and it was kind of scary because it was almost like my mom didn't really want to be here on earth, and which is understandable. She just lost her best friend, her mate, you know, her love, her husband, and so it was I could see the difficulty in that, and she just kind of almost gave up in a sense. You know, she kind of came back. It took a few years, but she came back, and my mom got into substance as well, and a lot of drinking, and my mom smoked until she died. So, you know, there was always that emotional trauma, you know, from my dad being killed, and so. But I seen her spiral downward, and it was good toward the end to see my mom kind of come out of that, because for so long I seen my mom, you know, really go downhill, and it felt good to see her do good even in the end times before she passed away. And it was really nice to see her, you know, such a positive mood.
She was so such an amazing,
so fun
human being, even in her pain.
Right, and she
was in a massive amount of pain.
Yeah, the cancer grew out her from inside her stomach out her skin. It ate a hole all the way through her entire body.
Never seen anything like it.
And she was a tough one. I'm telling you, my mom was tough. I did not know how tough my mom was. She got burnt from radiation, and I remember when we were cleaning her, and you know, when she was dying, I never knew my mom had skin burnt like all around her body from the radiation. And like, what a tough lady I had for a mom. Like, seriously, my mom was badass, man. She was such a good person. She died right where we're sitting.
Yeah,
right where we're sitting. And what a blessing to have her around us for so long, and such, you know, I wish we could have had her longer. You know, you don't know what you have till it's like really gone. And so, you know, I love you, Mom. You know, we say prayers
she
to
would
my
be
mom.
So proud. Like, I could hear her voice now and her laugh. You know, it was so infectious. And I know that she would say, God, I'm so proud of you, because she would probably even get on here.
Yeah, my mom was. She wasn't really too much into the. She would, though, probably.
She would.
Considering how my mom was before she passed away. But again, my mom, I think when she was on her deathbed is when she really, I think, came to grips with a lot of things. And she was just so much more at ease and more peaceful. And she was just really more down to earth. Not that my mom wasn't like that, but there was so much time in our life when my mom wasn't full of joy. She was, you know, kind of like a negative Nancy a lot, you know, and I'm not talking, you know, negative. I'm just saying.
And I didn't see that side of her. Like, she was funny. We would sit, like, even before we brought her here to Nevada, she was in Arizona. And we brought her here in October of 2020. Before that, we would spend hours and hours on the phone when I couldn't sleep, and I'd be scrolling on Facebook. She would call me and say, "You can't sleep, like what's going on?" And she would just always make me laugh and raise my spirits. I think she knew that, you know, there was something going on with her, and knew that her time was limited, and she made a huge impact on my life.
Yeah,
and
yeah, they're super close.
You know, and sometimes I would feel a little bit, I would feel a lot sad, and I'd feel a little bit angry, like, man, I finally, you know, there's somebody's mom, right, who really, I mean, a lot of moms loved me, but like a partner's mom, right, who accepted me, and, you know, wanted us to get married, and just loved me for who I was, like the good, the bad, all of it, you know. And we would just spend hours and hours. And she was not a small personality. Her personality was big. She had so much wisdom. You know, we would, this is kind of like, we would talk about stories from Mama's porch, right? And she would tell me a bunch of stories about when she was a kid, talking to her mom and her dad. And you know, we would call it, oh, it's story time, story from Mama's porch, right? And you know, I did some recordings of her. Like I said, is it okay, like, can I record you, because, you know, we want to have this when you go. Like, we talked openly about her leaving this earth, right? And even still, when it happened, it was still like, oh no, you know, don't go. But we know that she is definitely smiling down wherever she's at. Like, you know, I still can feel her presence. I just, you know, I smelt her the other night. It was odd. I woke up in the middle of the night and turned, and I smelt her scent. And I talk to her often, right? Especially about this one. I'd be like, help me.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was a little sidebar, but you know, we are talking about not playing small, and what are some ways, right, that we play small, right? It's saying yes, when you mean no, when you don't really want to say yes. You're doing it because you want to please somebody, or because you're afraid. But also the opposite, sometimes you say yes when you should say no.
Or dimmed your light to make other people comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, if you've ever, you know, wanted to make peace with people, or not outshine someone, so you having to like dim your light to make others comfortable. And I've done that many times. A good majority of my life, I was like a yes man. Don't ask me why. I've always been a leader, but I like to see people happy, and people, you know, tend to be happy if you say yeah. And then I realized, like, I'm a lot happier when I'm saying no instead of yes. And I mean, you know, just given the time and depending on the situation, for me, it felt better to say no, because I was learning how to, you know, be able to say no. And it felt, you know, like I had more power like that, instead of saying, because if you just say yes, it feels like the power kind of goes out the window. Like the control is kind of like in their hands, or in there. Somebody says, you know, can you do this for me? And you really don't want to, you don't have the time, or something that you don't have the means to do, but you're like, okay, yeah, you know, and then you go figure it out. It's like you're doing this chore, whatever it is that you have been asked by someone that you could have said no, but you're doing it. And so you find yourself, you know, kind of like grunting and groaning as you're doing it, like, why did I say yes? So I got out of that phase a while back, and I'm so cool and comfortable being the no person now, because again, I just don't have the time or the patience to be, you know, unless I'm really able to pour into the things that I'm doing so that I can pour into others. Right now is the time for me to really dive into me. And I'm okay with that, because again, I've spent so many years appeasing other people, wanting to see other people be happy, that now it's my turn. Now it's my time. It's my time to get on this horse and ride this, and make sure that I'm getting what I came to get. And that's the ability to help other people, because the right, you know, the right tools in the right hand is going to get the job done, so to speak. So if you got, let's say, monetarily things, not necessarily like cars and things like that, but if you have the ability to help, you know, to start a, you know, a nonprofit for helping homeless people, or things of that nature, then you have more power by doing that, instead of being, you know, someone who's looking for other people's help and not having the funds to do that. So there's a lot of things behind it, I think. So growth comes from within. And for me, I feel like, you know, stepping out of my comfort zone and being able to say yes where it's necessary and no where I need to.
Yeah.
I feel good about that instead of appeasing people. So welcome into anybody who's joining us.
Yes.
Tonight. We are talking about instead of playing small, we're going to play big and to build more, you know, I mean, to break self-imposed limits, you guys. I know we've all been there. So we're just really diving in and unpacking this so that we have a better understanding of what that looks like to appease other people, to kind of dim our own light just to make others feel better. And we've all, I'm sure, have done that. Some people may not have, but I know that I have a good majority of my life been a people pleaser. So, and I still am that somewhat, but I have more control now by me stepping into my full, you know, abilities and my, what am I trying to say here? My full potential. And by that, is when I'm able to say no and yes to the right things. I'm saying yes to the things that are going to help me right now in my life, which may seem a little bit selfish, but that's okay. I'm at that selfish point in my life right now where I need to be selfish. Because can you imagine the impact I'm going to make on more people as opposed to me helping one or two people, trying to help, you know what I mean, taking the time to go do what these people may ask me to do. Look, I'll get back with you in a bit. You know what I mean? I've got things I got to take care of. It's not a no, but it's a no for now. You know, and so,
and it does feel good to say yes. I mean, you know, especially when it's, you know, for the right reasons.
Right.
It does feel good to say yes, because I was like you, I was yes, I'll do it. Right. And sometimes it felt like, for me anyways, like I was being punished for being that yes person, because then everybody was like, she'll do it. Right. And then people would become upset or jealous because they were coming to me, but it became a burden, right? Then it became, okay, now I have to really perform because people are coming to me and this is what they expect. And I've got to have all the answers and I've got to know everything. And it was a lot of pressure. And today, right, it's like what you said, I can say no and be okay with that. Before I would say no, and then my mind would start racing. Oh my God, what are they going to think of me? How are they going to feel? You know, what are they going to do? What's their response going to be? And today I'm okay. Like no is a complete sentence, right? But it also does feel good to say yes to the things that mean something to me, that, like what you said, is going to help grow me spiritually, physically, mentally. So I'm saying yes to those things that are going to feed my spirit, because if my spirit gets fed, then I can feed you. Right. And we can feed each other.
Right.
And so, you know, and I think another way that we play small is holding back our voice and our opinions. I know I did. I just was like, we'll just go with the flow. I don't want to, you know, even though I think differently than other people, I don't want to, you know, step on anyone's toes or make anyone feel less than if my opinion or my voice differs than other people. Today, not the case. I will speak my mind. I will speak my piece. I will just speak, period. And it's very empowering. It's very empowering when you stop playing small. You are giving people permission to shine. We can all shine. There is plenty of light to go around. We all have light inside of us, and let it shine.
I'm gonna let it shine. So
this little
and so, and how our childhood has really, you know, it the beliefs have shaped us as an adult. You know, some of the things that we were taught or learned as a kid, how those beliefs are still ingrained in us to this day, that might be holding us back too. And how we as people can, you know, adult people can start really dealing with these in ways that we probably never thought. So I just recently got into got a new coach, so to speak, not therapy, but a coach, somebody like a life coach, somebody that I can just, you know, pour into and ask, you know, what I could do different. And one of the things we discussed was how me as a parent am, you know, with Justin. And one of the things that my coach said was, when you're talking to Justin and you're comforting him, it's the kid inside of you that you're comforting as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, it made a lot of sense. I'm like, okay, so when I'm comforting him and I want him to be safe, I'm like, okay, come here. This is why you don't do that. my coach said that a lot of that is you comforting the inner you as a child, and to be aware and alert that that's one thing that you're doing is you're really comforting you as a young child. So, and I thought that was pretty cool. And so these things that, a coach without a coach is pretty much kind of a hypocrite, if you ask me. So, and so I have a coach, and I feel like this is necessary because I'm learning stuff all the time, and to have somebody that I can ask these kind of questions about, it just makes sense. So, as a child, there's a lot of things that are ingrained that are like, that it could be scarred or even great things that we've learned as kids that are fantastic that we now take as adults, and it doesn't always make it right or wrong. It's just sometimes we have to change things. Sometimes we have to really start adapting to the now and start really taking in what's around us now, as opposed to constantly reverting to the past and what we've learned back then. We're changing and evolving, and so that's what we should be doing. Everything in our cells and our bodies changing. So it's important for me to realize that things have changed 10 times over and over and over in my life, and so I should as well. Going with the times and not staying focused on the things that happened to me in the past, but learning, moving on, and building new cells, building new memories, new relationships, new foundations that I need to that I want to start embarking in, and doing different things with.
And I love, that you talked about the inner child thing, because that was, what I did in my life to finally get free of substances was, go back to the beginning. How was I as a kid? And I have nurtured and have, continue to heal that inner kid, but also, even looking at other people's inner children, right? And how what they do affects the way that they respond or react to the world. Like, even looking at you that way, that's what has helped me forgive, right? And not just you, but myself, is remembering that little kid inside who told me I couldn't do these things, who told me I wasn't good enough, right? I wouldn't tell myself these things. I wouldn't tell other people these things if they were asking me for advice. So it's identifying, whose voice that is, and then letting your inner child, just like we encourage him and we encourage our children. I'm a big believer in letting them speak up. I did with all 5 of my kids, and let them have their voice. And sometimes I was like, ooh, but I think it's important for them to know that they're heard and they're seen. Because for me growing up, it was be quiet, sit down, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, we just heard that a lot, and so I would just fade into the background. It was like, this is what I'm being told by all these adults around me. Just don't do that. Don't behave that way. And so I find, when you give somebody a voice, right? You let them come into their power. It's important. Your voice, it matters. We say this all the time. Your story is important. Your voice matters. The story you have to tell, the things that you've gone through weren't for no reason, right? They are to help humanity. It's not just helping ourselves. I mean, we are here to help ourselves, and by helping ourselves, we help others automatically. And so, I'm just so grateful that you guys are with us tonight, and we're having these conversations because they're important. And I just want to encourage anyone out there who, feels like, I don't really have anything to say. What happened to me, doesn't matter. It does. It does matter. So I would encourage you to find someone to talk to today. You can reach out to us. You can DM us.
Y'all know our number, 775-315-1637 is my phone number. Y'all hit us up. Right. Okay? When was the first time you remember shrinking yourself to fit in?
Oh my goodness.
What about you guys? When was the first time you guys remember shrinking yourself just to fit in, to make sure that you were comfortable, making sure that you were in the right crowd and feeling good about yourself so that you could fit in? Do you guys remember that? Come on, chime in. Let me hear from you guys. If you've ever had that moment, I know we all have had that moment where we wanted to fit in. I was in a gang at 5 years old. Okay, 5 years old, I joined the gang. Don't ask me how I was even out and about running in through the streets with the gang, but I was. Okay, I was in mini mob. I ain't even gonna say what, but I was a kid in a gang at 5 years old, and that was my first time shrinking myself down too. How about you, Leti?
Gosh, your first time shrinking down? Sheesh. There's been a few. God, I can't even think of a time right now. I think for me, a lot of the time, singing for me, even growing up, right? I did it really well, and I didn't want to outshine, you know, I didn't want to outshine, you know, other people. I've done it my whole life. I've always kind of just sit in the background or don't say something. I let someone else say it, and then I'll be like, man, that's, you know, that was what was on my mind, and I didn't speak up, right? Because I don't want people to feel uncomfortable. But then it's not okay for me to always feel uncomfortable. And I'm definitely learning how to navigate that and speak up, and letting my light shine means just being authentically myself, right? When I'm out there, you know, I'm kind. I don't shrink. I'm not like, oh, they're not going to like me. You know, I go and introduce myself to strangers, you know, down by the river, at the grocery store, you know, like everywhere I go. I've met so many moms, you know, at the park, just interacting, just putting myself out there, not being afraid to shine, and know that what I have to say is important, and my opinion matters, and my voice matters. And I find that people really respond to that. And so I'm just going to keep doing it, you know, I'm going to keep moving forward with that, and, you know, dancing and singing and doing the things that I love, while I'm out there. And I hope that, you know, that helps somebody else walk in their power, and, you know, not shrink, but let their light shine. We all need it. That's the way that we're going to heal ourselves, each other, and the land that we live on. So let's go.
Who's in here with us? Let me hear it from you. Who's in here? I mean, if you don't want to say nothing, you ain't got to, but it'd be nice to hear from y'all. And so what's one daily practice that helps you walk in your full power, or your full potential, or your full light? You know, what are some daily practices that you guys do to help you continue to walk in your path, so to speak? For me, I wake up in a positive mood every single day by choice. I do. I sometimes wake up, you know, glad to be here. Like, I have been thinking more and more about death lately, and I don't know why. And, you know, it's scary. I don't know what's after this. I'm not religious. I'm not, you know, like this deep spiritual person, but I feel like if there were nothing after this, I just want to make sure that I am living the life I'm supposed to be living. And so for me, you know, one of the things that's been on my mind is dying. So, but I wake up consciously in a good mood every day, on purpose, by choice, as a habit. And I feel great about that, y'all. I do. You know, what about you, Leti? What's one thing that...
For me, it takes me a minute. I gotta like wake up, and, you know, and not that I wake up like, you know, super grumpy. I wouldn't say. It's a whole lot better. I mean, I just used to wake up like anxiety ridden and scared, but today it's more intentional, right? And it takes me a moment to, like, I don't just pop out of bed like singing with the birds, and
I do.
He does, and that's cool. And I love that, right? And for me, I just need a little bit of warm up. You know, I need that quiet time by myself, you know, talking to God, and just setting that intention in my mind. Like, this is how I want to wake up. You know, and then, you know, I get to have my coffee, and I take my time to meditate and pray. Right. And then I move on to like my affirmations, you know, whether that's while I'm getting ready, or I'm just saying them out loud all the time, or in my head. You know, that today is going to be a fantastic day. You know, life is going to meet me with opportunity. You know, that I am a beautiful, wonderful, kind, you know, just whatever it is that I want for the day, you know, and I invite God into my day, into these 24 hours that I have, so that I'm not living too much in the past or too much in the future, but in the moment. You know, I want to enjoy every single moment that there is.
I have come close to dying several times, and I don't want to wake up dead. I don't. And so I don't want to wake up dead. I don't. I want to make sure I'm living to the fullest every single day. I'm going to leave this earth at 103 years old. You know why? Because that's what I'm going to manifest. I've been manifesting that since I was 15, and I'm still here. You know, I'm not even halfway through it. About maybe, you know what I mean? I'm close to being halfway through. 43. I'm about to be 43 in July. But I'm okay. You know what I mean? I'm feeling great. I still got a whole lot more years in front of me. So, but I think it's a way of living, and being happy is not just being happy. You really gotta, you know, look for the good things in life. You know, you gotta look for the positive things. And again, that's just me. I don't know many people. Leti says it's not always positive, Paul, stuff, but I beg to differ. Me personally, I feel like I know I have those moments, but I'm gonna do everything I can to be happy. Y'all can. This may be controversial to some people, but I'm gonna be happy at all costs. All right, I'm not gonna go stepping on people's heads just to climb up a ladder just so I'm happy. I'm saying, like, within reason, I'm going to be happy in my life.
I agree with you.
I have to be.
I agree with you.
Because it works for me. Because I've been unhappy. I've been depressed. I've been, you know, into the point where in my life where I didn't have any control, and we were homeless, and we had, you know, very little to eat, and, like, you know, the same clothes. I did not like that. I didn't like the feeling I just felt low. I felt like people would be able to make fun of me, and I didn't want to fight people because I didn't like being made fun of. No, nobody bullied me because I wouldn't let them. You know what I mean? But it was really difficult as a kid, as a child, to not have any power, to have that feeling of like no control, no say so. So for me, I'm like, I'm smiling, I'm cheesing on it daily because I can, because I should. I feel like this is my job and my life is to fulfill what I'm destined to be, and that's really impact. I'm impact driven, and I know I make impact from when I walk in the room. You know what I mean? It's not always the best to people. I'm sure some people probably don't know what to think of me, but I enjoy it. I like who I am. I love who I am. I'm cool with what I do, and I'm okay with when I sleep at night. I'm good with who I am as a person. I can look in the mirror and say that you are a good person, and I love myself. So, and I hope you guys feel the same way too. You know what I mean? And
if you don't, find out why you don't.
Let's see why not.
Right? You know that's where I think, you know, pain comes into play. We all have it, right? And it's just it's there to tell us that something needs to change. And being, you know, having joy. Like, I have real peace. I never thought that I would be able to have this. I was just always worried about everybody else. And today, you know, I still not worried about other people, but I am a compassionate, what's the other word? Compassionate, considerate. I am very considerate of other people. And, you know, I care. I want to see people happy, but I also want to be happy. And I am genuinely happy, and I love myself, and I love who I am, you know, finally allowing myself to be, because I'm remembering what I came here to do. And that is also to make impact, not just on my life, but on the lives of those around me.
Right.
And it is an amazing feeling, and waking up, you know, happy and going and feeling free. Like, I'm free on the inside. I'm free on the outside.
What's the difference between humility and hiding?
Humility and hiding?
Yeah. Because there is a difference, I feel like.
Right. I would say that hiding is you could even physically hide. It's kind of like what I did. I literally hid in the closet. I didn't come out. I didn't show up for myself. You know, I didn't say much. I just was hiding. And humility to me is not being overly braggadocious, or doing things to like, hey, look at me, look what I can do, you know. But I believe in celebrating your wins. I believe in clapping for yourself and sharing. I think you have to, you know, you want to be careful where you're celebrating your wins, because not everybody is going to celebrate with you.
I don't think you have to be careful, because, you know, maybe it's not for everybody.
Maybe that was the wrong choice.
But I personally think that, you know, some people, when I come across people, I've had a lot of people say, man, you really, you know, I'll see them like later on in the day, say, man, you know what, I was having a bad day, and just your energy just sparked me up. So, you know, thank you. I've had a lot of people tell me that in my life. And so I keep on doing it, because for it makes me feel good. Like, I feel like I'm young. Sure. I feel like I'm young by smiling, laughing. I interact. Leti knows I interact with everybody I come across in one way or another. Like, I legitly, seriously dude, it's like a rare thing to not say hi to somebody that I see. If they're within 10, 20 feet, I'm saying what's up. Even if I got to yell at you from across the street, what's up?
Yeah.
I do it. Don't ask me why. It's just something I've done for a long time. I enjoy it because I know what it's like not to have people around me. That's not the whole reason I do it. I do it because it makes an impact. Whether it's good or bad, I feel like there's a lot of people that's going to be able to remember me. And, you know, like anything else, once you pass away, it's kind of like, you know, you're remembered for, you know, a decade or whatever the case is, but we all fade away. You know what I mean? Caesar does. You know, we all have these, you know, we have the plateau, so to speak. But me personally, I'm still busy living. So, you know, we're right at our limit of 30 minutes. But
and I love that you do that. You know, that you make people feel like they're seen and heard, right? I mean, you never know what a smile will do. I mean, even in my own pain, even when I was on substances, I still would hold the door open for people. I would still say hello. I would still engage in conversations, you know, everybody from executives all the way down to the janitors where I worked, you know, and would exchange phone numbers. And, you know, because that was my heart at the core of who I am. That's who I am. You know, that's how I was as a little girl, just going and introducing myself to people. I love to be connected to people and make that impact. And we're all capable of that. You know, everybody has that light inside of them. You just got to shine it on the dark parts of yourself, embrace them, and, you know, let that light shine, and that darkness will dispel.
And it's, you know, it's just good to talk about these things, I feel like. So that's why we dive into this stuff, because some of this stuff is impactful, meaningful, and we have a good time talking about it. So we want to hear from you guys. You know, we said this before. Envy guys, if you're interested in coming on the podcast, joining us, you know, feel free. We do have a special guest coming this Friday, so stay tuned. And we are very appreciative of you guys being here with us. Please leave something in the comments, help with the algorithm. You know, go ahead and drop a like, comment, share, do what all you know you can to help this podcast stay moving and thriving. We're going to continue no matter what, but it just feels good to have you guys involved. So we just want to say thank you to everybody joining us and being here. We appreciate you guys' time. Again, you could be anywhere, but you guys chose to be here with us. We have one person on. We don't know who you are, but we really want to say thank you and a shout out to you. You stayed this entire time. We'd love to hear from you. You know what I mean? Again, we appreciate you, and shout out to anyone who does see us in the after. So we love you guys. Continue staying good people. Remember, you know, currency, the new currency is relationships, you know, so build those relationships, keep pouring into each other, and stay humble. Love you guys. Until next time, we'll see you then. Have a good night, you guys. See ya.